Okay. Can you hear me now? We're starting this over. We're starting it over! You know what it was? What it was is I've had that problem with audio, so I was trying to figure out how to get this echo out of my ears, and I figured it out. But lo and behold, I didn't! No, I didn't. So now I'm back hearing myself 2 times. I'm in like a zone. It's like boing, 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 back and forth. You know, the truth is, part of that, maybe I did it on purpose. Maybe I did it on purpose. You'll never know. You will never, ever know. And I was rocking too. I was in the zone. I could hear myself perfectly fine. It didn't sound like binaural beats. I gotta say though, that might be a new thing. The paleo beats. You know what I'm saying? Where you got my voice coming in both sides. Boom, 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 boom. Just gets people in the groove, zoned out, ready to rock the day. Because we're taking a knee for our Lord Jesus Christ every single day, of course. But here on Meaning of Catholic, on the live show, every Wednesday and Friday, 10-ish to noonish. And I apologize, that wasn't the only audio problem that we had. We had a video problem too. Let me get this binaural beat off. Let me get it off now. Okay. All right. So I should be able to hear myself. Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, that's even worse. No, because now I'm hearing myself all over the place. This is bad. I may have to take off the headphones. That's okay, though. Let me see. Give me one more shot. Monitor and output. Yeah, I'm hearing myself all over. That's like 3 voices now. Why? What is this? What is going on? I'm a professional. I am. Let's see here. Settings. Audio. I wonder. There we go. No, that's still terrible. That's still terrible. I'm going to take this off because I can't stand that sound. It's really frustrating. I just gotta take them off. I'm sorry. You have caused me great ruin. You have caused me great ruin, headphones that I love. Oh, no. Oh, I love all of you. I love all of you. And I'm really grateful. I'm sorry for all of those issues. I am. Well, but you know what? We're going to have a good show. We're going to have a good show. We got to figure out how we're going to take that beginning off of there, though. And we'll just pretend, be like, I don't know. We started it. Something was wrong with YouTube. It just started halfway into the intro. And people are like, are you sure? I think I was there. It was your mistake. And I'm like, no, you're lying. You are totally lying. All right. In the comments section, very, very great for all of you. In fact, if it wasn't for the folks in the comments section, my staff let me down. In fact, I bet you $1 billion. If I go out there, I bet you that my staff is taking a nap. It's probably what's happening, right? Louie, Wolfgang, taking themselves a nap. But my mega hot half Korean wife, Angela, lovesick me on Telegram, did not come and tell you, boy. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you right now. Oh, no, I'm not. It's totally my fault. All right, everybody in the comments, grateful. Thank you for giving me the heads up. Definitely an issue that I'm working through. And if you are somebody who knows about technical issues like this and why I'm hearing my voice like 5 times, that would be really something I would love to have you work with me on. Yeah, and it's terrible because I can even hear myself right now. I'm just going to unplug the headphones. That way I don't even hear it. Because otherwise it's going to come through. You might be able to hear it. Listen. I want to show you what I've been hearing. Hold on. Check this out. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. Can you hear that? Yeah, that's what I've been listening to. So whenever I say I got to switch over, that's the sound, folks. Man, that's like a major echo. It's pretty dope, you know, in certain circumstances. But not when you're doing a live show. Not when you're doing a live show. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And just for the aesthetic. Just for the aesthetic. I'm doing it this way. Okay, so we've got a good show for you today. We have a bunch of great stuff. In the comments, hallelujah. Nice to see you there. LCS President Peter Michael Burke. Very glad you are here, brother man. It's an awesome interview that we have. I've actually broken it up into two because we talked at first. We had a lot to talk about, okay? We had a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and one of the things that we talked about was SpongeBob memes with Catholic themes. Okay, so we talked about that because he just so happens to be, you know, the creator of it. So if you love these memes on Facebook, if you're loving those things and you're sharing them all over the place and a whole bunch of them, I didn't even know. I'm his friend. I feel let down a little bit. I'll forgive him eventually, but I'm definitely upset about it, Michael. Peter, Michael, definitely upset about it. All right. So that's the first part of the interview. The second part of the interview, and I'll introduce them the same. I included it because I was going to separate it at first, and I said, nope, I'm gonna play that today. We're gonna do that. And so the second part is him talking about the League of Christ Sovereign. And you're gonna learn a lot more about that. In fact, while it's running, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the description of this video, and that way you can go ahead, you can click the link during the interview, have it playing in the background. Don't leave, don't leave it, but you can have it playing in the background, and you can check out that website. It's a fantastic website, fantastic group. I full-throatedly endorse what they're doing, and we're going to be much more involved. In fact, I've already invited him. I've welcomed him on board here at Team Paleocrat, and offered him a place even at PaleocratDiaries.com to say, you know, when talking about the league and other things, that he would be a contributor there. There's a whole bunch of stuff regarding that in the wing. Plus, just as an aside, and I don't want to digress too far, but as an aside, your boy got some help recently to figure out the issue to do with why members over at PaleocratDiaries.com were not able. I didn't know how to set it up so that if I posted something, I could make it kind of like Patreon, to where it was visible, but only able to be unlocked by members, and not just members, but 3 tiers of membership, just like over at patreon.com/PaleocratDiaries. Because you can't, people were already members over at the website at PaleocratDiaries.com, and I couldn't, so I'm like scrambling. So I'm like, well, I can't just take the money and put it into Patreon, because then there's no money, right? Like, because then their donation is just going toward them donating to themselves, you know, over there at another place, but there's nothing that comes to me. And so kind of defeats the purpose. So we had to figure it out. And last night, very late into the evening, I got confirmation by 2 different sources, one a member and one not a member, that in fact it worked. So if you're a member now, and you're a member of PaleocratDiaries.com, that's separate from Patreon, it will be the same material. I just have to double post, right? So I just have to double post it. It has to go to both sources, because those are 2 different means by which people can support the program, either Patreon or, of course, over at PaleocratDiaries.com. But I've offered for him to go there. I've offered for someone else to go there as well. In fact, I think I could probably just say it. I can probably just say it right now, Jake Fowler. And I got an interview coming up with him. We'll have that interview, hopefully, available by Friday. Not much editing necessary at all for that, unless, of course, maybe some of the audio and stuff. But that's a fantastic interview. That is on how to be prepared for Mass. So not how to hear Mass, but how to prepare for Mass. And I'll tell you, it's humbling. It is humbling. But so all of that. Now, comment section. Anthony Rodriguez. Nice to see you, my man. Yes, you're doing a great job moderating over at the Wolfpack chat over on Telegram. Shlomeo, I'm German Filipino, so imagine the inner conflict. Must be punctual early verse, it can wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, I was on time, except I was late because there was a problem. So but I was here. I was here. I was ready to go. And you see how bad it was, because even after I started, there ended up being audio problems. And that's starting to look pretty dumb. This is making me mad. This is making me really upset. I'm getting really angry. I gotta laugh or else I'm gonna cry. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to cry about that on the show. That'd be ridiculous. My haters My haters would be all over me. They'd be all over your boy's back. I can't have that. Can't have it at all. Benoit says, bonjour. Yes, bonjour to you, my friend. It was great to see you in the Wolfpack chat. Great to see you over there. Same thing with Corey Chuba. A whole bunch of the people, by the way, if you're tuned into this right now, and you have a fun time in this chat, and you have a fun time with the show, and you wonder, I wonder what Paleocrat does throughout the week, right? What kind of guy is he? What's his family doing? What's he reading? What is he praying about? How is he talking with people? How does he engage, with individuals in real-time stuff? And you want to know more about that, you got to go to Telegram. You got to go to Telegram. In fact, I'll just show you right there. So if you look right there, for example, that is a behind the scenes right there. That is a behind the scenes from Crusade Channel when I was there filling in for Kennedy Hall. And I was telling people, that when it comes to doing what I do, man, the most common compliment and complaint together, the most common comment, right, and compliment, and the most common complaint is that I'm high energy, right? Rocket fuel, high octane guy. And I said, there's actually a lot that goes into that. And you can see I'm wiping my brow right there, right? I'm wiping my brow. I'm sweating like a dog. I was talking to the producer of the show. So I shared that. That was not shared on anything else. I shared it exclusively there, talking to him about what my set is like, how many lights I've got, why I put things where I put them, and talking about being high octane. Talking about being all sorts of rocket fuel. Yeah. So right here, you got different comments from different people, right? JP, and thanks for sharing. Love this kind of content, talking about the video from Crusade Channel. How about this one? I shared that. That's a daily motivation, right? Dream bigger thoughts. That's me skating around with my daughter, right? The doctors told her she'd never skate again. Childhood brain cancer. It was really terrible. That was her favorite thing in the world to do. And skating was really tough. You can see she's wearing different kind of skates, right? They're not your average skates. They're low to the ground for stability. And I had to run next to her. And I mean, look at me, man. I was like, I was a little bit heavier than I am now. But your boy, I had to buy those shoes just to try to do it because I wear dress shoes all the time. And so I had to run with her because if she fell, she was on chemo. Her bones are brittle. I mean, she had fractures in her arm. She had to wear a cast for a while because somebody bumped into her at school. So if she fell, I mean, it would be a terrible, terrible thing. And so I had to run with her, and I'd give it. Trust me, you talk about sweating. that was it. But it's a great video. It's a great video. But I'm sharing from other people. That's my wife made these costumes right here. The one with Teresa's not done, right? The one for Athanasius, I don't believe that one's done either, and it doesn't have some of the gear. Yeah, Angela talks about that. People are sharing games that are fun. Different prayers. Now, and this is just PaleocratDiaries. So, and that's in the description below. So if you want to follow what I do, just me, okay, that's it, just me. If you want to do that, PaleocratDiaries. Otherwise, you've got yourself the Wolfpack chat, okay? And not only the Wolfpack chat, not only that, because the Wolfpack chat, it's bumping, right? In fact, I shared yesterday. Let's see if we can get up here, man. There's going to be a decent number of little posts up here. Come on. Oh, yeah, people busting my chops 24/7. But look at this. Check this out. Okay? Right here. Look at just, and it's not a huge audience, but it's the most engaged audience I've ever seen in my life. I love you guys in the comments. You are amazing people. Absolutely amazing. Look at the numbers right there. That's the meaning of Catholic bump, and that is the Wolfpack chat effect. That's what that is. Look at that. You can see early on, nothing. Just flatline. Barely little beeps here and there. And then blam, blam, blam. You can just see it. And that's all of you. That's all of you. So as I said, people pumped up. People making original memes. Right? GIFs and everything. It's a whole bunch of fun. So anyway, all right. If you want to go, and you should, if you want to be part of that group. Oh, I'm so sorry. One more thing. I can't. I am so sorry. It's all new. This is new. Check it out. Catholic prayer chain. Okay, it was Catholic prayer group. I changed it. I'm really sorry, Haley. I did, and I added a description. Okay? Description. Have a prayer request? Let us know. We'll add them to our list of intentions to include in our chain's rosaries, chaplets, litanies, and novenas. Catholic Prayer Chain is associated with PaleocratDiaries Wolf Pack of Prayer and the Wolf Pack Chat. And we're gonna do even like prayer meetings where you get together for live chats, things like that. Okay. And then there's this. The Book Club of the Canine Brigade. Yeah, Book Club associated. We have to change this. Book Club associated with Paleocrat and the Wolf Pack Chat. Yeah, it's better than that. It's more than that. Okay. Yeah, the Canine Brigade. Look at that. Okay. And they have already gone through and put together what they're going to do and what day of the week or how often they're going to receive. Interior Castle, that's the book that we're going through. Interior Castle, book 1. There's the schedule from our fantastic mod, right? Monica. So you can join that too. All of that's connected over at the Wolfpack Chat, which is all, of course, connected to Paleocrat. Okay? So make sure to go over there. As I said, absolutely love all of you. Amazing people. So, all right, we've got a great show for you. We have a great show for you, but before we do, let's go real quick to the oh yeah, this is the copy, by the way. I'll start taking pictures for the book club, and I'll share some of the underlined portions that stuck out to me with a little bit of things that, you know, God's kind of impressed upon my heart as we go along through this. And if you can't make it, we're recording on the Wolfpack, on the Canine Brigade, we're recording all of the book club stuff. Okay, so if you can't make the meeting, because it's the moderator and the person leading the group is in England. Okay, so it's a way different time zone. It's an international group of people. It's why it never sleeps. The Wolfpack Chat, it doesn't sleep. Ever. I wish they would. I wish they would sleep. And so, you know, but the thing is that she's over there, so I think it's 5 or 6. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, live chat here. But if you can't make it because of dinner time or whatever, we are going to record each and every one of those group meetings where people can talk to each other and everything. We'll record them. It's right there on Telegram. Okay, so you'll be able to just hop in or whatever. We'll record it and we'll share it so that way after it's over, people can go in and they can watch and hear the conversations that took place with people in the book club. So, all right, speaking of a book, speaking of a club, right here, you got to do it. You got to go get the Saint Maker. I should have said this earlier. I got to get in a better habit, not only of making sure the mic is on, right? Which I thought I fixed it, right? No excuses though. But you know, I got to do better about making sure that I share this intro at the very beginning of the show. You know, I think that that's because it's how you kind of got to begin your day. And I say that because it will tell you to begin your day with prayer, and it will tell you the times for different prayer. Okay, and so let me just open it up here. You can see from beginning to end, right? Beginning to end. You've got the man. That's pretty bright, huh? Daily devotions, daily cross, appointments. It's got the liturgical hours throughout the day to keep you on track. Issue tracker, right? Actions needed. And on this side, I don't know if we can, on this side over here, you've got your evening examination, your evening exam. So it teaches you how to prepare for it. Goal review, blessings, sins and shortcomings, heart focus, spiritual goal, and concluding prayer. So from beginning to end of the day, I should start my show because this is a good way to start the day. It keeps you on track. It keeps you on track for your prayers, keeps you on track for your prayer life, the tracking even of your virtues. I wish I had my virtue tracker cards. I'll show you this one just real quick. Check it out. So yeah, this is a one that they give you a bunch of them. I don't need all of them. So I'll give you one that's a clean slate one. Okay. So it's got on here, it's got your sins, spiritual sins, corporal sins, theological virtues, cardinal virtues. And on the back, it's got a tracker, right? A tracker for the whole month. You've got past, skip days, start, failed, and end. So it's got little symbols that you can do. It's got a little chart back here. You can break it down. It's an amazing thing. The Saint Maker is an amazing thing. And I'm talking to them, trying to figure out if there's anything that can be done. If there's anything that can be done about international sales. Because we have a lot of international people. So I'm on it for you. I have not heard back yet, but I'm on it. Because I believe in this. I believe in this product. And so with no further ado, here we go with the Saint Maker ad. And we'll be right back right after this with our first part of our interview with Peter Michael Burke, Jr., the president of League of Christ Sovereign. Can a personal planner really make you a saint? Not by itself. But in our day and age of addictive apps and glowing screens, we're bombarded by constant distraction, and our quest for sainthood often takes a backseat. The Saint Maker is the first high-performance planner for the spiritual life, made by faithful Catholics for faithful Catholics. It's a work of genius, really, fusing the wisdom of the saints with the science of personal productivity. It's rigorous, but sainthood is tough, and most of us need help organizing our time, our work, our leisure, and our devotion, because that can help you become a saint. The Saint Maker is elegant, fits in your purse or briefcase, and is a perfect companion for your missal, Bible, or rosary. Published 4 times per year, each season includes daily planning pages, feast days, and devotions for both forms of the liturgical calendar, goal-setting pages, confession journals, and more. It's why the Saint Maker is used by hardworking Catholics, like CEO of Sock Religious Scott Williams, best-selling author Sam Guzman, YouTubers like Amber Schneider, a Catholic wife Dina Barca and Brian Holdsworth, and priests like Father Corey Stitcha. Try the Saint Maker out, and if you decide that it's not for you, you can send it back for a full refund within 90 days. So go right now. Find your life planner at thesaintmaker.com. Quantities are limited though, so head on over to thesaintmaker.com to order yours and to start your Saint Maker journey today. You gotta do it. You gotta go over there and do it. And speaking of something you gotta do, you gotta share this with your friends right now, because we are entering the octagon of PaleocratDiaries. Right, rocking every single Wednesday and Friday, 10ish to noonish. Right here on Meaning of Catholics YouTube channel. Rocking every single time, pumped up, ready to roll, on fire, and connecting with awesome people. Whether it's over on Telegram, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's by email at paleocratdiaries@gmail.com, or whether it's like today, where we're interviewing amazing people who are doing amazing things. Sometimes ordinary things in extraordinary ways. That's kind of the saintly way, ain't it? It is. So you gotta be pumped. And right now, I'm hoping that my boy, Peter Michael Burke Jr. is still in the comments. If he is, it should say LCS President. If it says LCS Presidente, then you are connected with the right guy. And so I encourage you, ask him questions. If you can ask him fun ones too, right? Ask him fun ones. The guy makes memes. The guy's the creator, the visionary, the meme wizard behind SpongeBob Memes for Catholic themes. With Catholic themes. SpongeBob Memes with Catholic themes. So if you like that page, and I hope you do, you should go right now. If you don't like it on Facebook already, but you've seen it, go like the thing. You're gonna see the guy. You're gonna be surprised. I think you're gonna be surprised. I think most people would be surprised by what these meme lords, what they look like in real life. And how they act and who they are and stuff. They'd be like, really, that guy? That guy's the one who does that? He looks so clean cut. He looks so proper. Yes, very gentlemanly. And he's a gentleman. That's what he is. So we're gonna cover that. It's gonna be a whole bunch of fun. And in between, because there's 2 different segments. Okay, there's 2 different segments. Yeah, I gotta take. So, what I want to do is, if we have time between these segments, and we might, it'll be pushing it kind of close. I at least want to introduce the topic. Okay, so introduce it. Let's see if we can go ahead and let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can do this. Okay, right here. So I said that the next series was selected by the patrons over at Patreon. Okay, so patreon.com/PaleocratDiaries. If you're a patron over there, there will be occasional polls. And the poll that we had, the very first one, had to do with after enthusiasm is complete. And by the way, I'm still in mourning. I love it so much. I have to write a book. I got to write a book about it. I have heard the cry. I've got to do it. Too many people have told me. They said, you got to write a book about the book and about the topics of the book and expand on the book. You have to. In fact, there's a really great article. It's in fact, I don't even know what year this is. 1951. Okay? Religious fanaticism. Someone sent this to me. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic article. Oh, sorry about that. And in this article, I'm trying to remember who it was that wrote it. I think it's a lady. I think it was a lady. You know, but the thing is, ended up writing this this article about Knox in his book and about the groups. And one of the things that she wishes could have been done, would have been that he would have been able to add to the group. She actually was bummed because he kind of stopped, and you may have noticed this, he kind of stopped, you know, skipped over maybe 100 years. And you go, man, wow, you know, there wasn't anything cool that happened in that 100 years time right here. This account largely closes around the year 1800, with only a few 19th century references to show that enthusiasm didn't die suddenly. I was rather disappointed it wasn't brought up to date. Well, guess what? I think your boy's going to have to do it. I'm going to have to do it. I have to. Because, you know, not only do I love the subject, but because it has just gone, at this point, it's enthusiasm on parade. It's spread around like a virus. It's no longer an underbelly. It's now reigning in halls of power all over the place, all over the world. And it's penetrated secularism to extreme degrees. And I'm glad she mentions that with the secular, at her time, it would have been secular nudists and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about that. I am bummed. We're going to talk about it, right? I'm going to write about it. I must do that. And if you haven't seen my article about sedevacantism, I was asked to do that. So, Andrea, you can't get on my case. I was asked to do that for 1 Peter 5. And I said, that sounds good to me. It's the introduction. It's not an argument. It's an introduction that gives a backstory, but it's excellent. And the next one will regard the method that I use. And I've shared videos about that method on Telegram. So you have to go to Telegram in order to see that. But I'll be writing about that. But I want to talk a lot about it, and I want to write about it, okay? But the patrons, they said that they wanted to hear me talk about Father Lasance's manual for young men and young women. Now, I must say, I think that people, I can imagine some folks, I can imagine them where they're like, look, you know, I'm not a young man or young woman. How does this apply to me? I will take care of that. I will take care of that. I'm pretty good at this. To take these lessons. So it's not just for parents and it's not just for kids. We can make these lessons applicable. And that's what we're going to do. And if I have enough time, I'll at least introduce part first. I love how you can see kind of the era this is from. Part first, the maiden's wreath, the sunflower, faith. I love it. So we're gonna do that. But before we do, hold on, what's that? Why is that doing it? Oh no! The intro, I thought I had it. I thought I had it turned off. I apologize. So, okay. It looked pretty dope, though. So, here we go. Check this out. I got to drop this in. I thought I did it ahead of time. I did not. So, bear with me for a second. I got to scale it up. And that way... All right, everybody. I'm... Okay. So, there it is. Right there's the interview with my buddy. Check him out. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. Super psyched about this guy. So we're gonna go ahead. Let me rewind that here. Let me rewind it. Okay, we're all smiling. We're having a good old time. So, all right, this here is the interview. Long awaited, in fact. We've been excited about this, ready to get it out, and finally the day has arrived. And so with the second one, I'll have to do the same thing. I'll have to drop it in while this one's playing, so that way it doesn't, end up. Playing music or kind of doubling over this and everything. But this right here should run for about 20 minutes. And once we're done with that, I'll come back. If I have time, I'll go ahead and introduce Father Lasance, the girl portion, right? I'll save the guys for Friday. The guys begin with war. So the girls begin with the sunflower. The men begin with war. And I think it's appropriate. I think Father Lasance is absolutely genius. And I really hope that this helps even in people, not only in the way they raise their kids, but also in becoming more familiar and aware that he, in fact, wrote these books because they're really important and you can use them even as a missile. It's a companion you can carry with you forever. And I am not associated with any group that I would benefit from for saying any of these things. Okay, so I don't make money from any of that. It could be a bestseller tomorrow, and I'd be like, oh man, it would be great if I invested. But I have no connection, so I believe in it, and I believe in what Peter Michael Burke Jr. is doing with the League of Christ Sovereign. So with no further ado, here's my interview with Peter Michael Burke Jr., president of the League of Christ Sovereign and creator of Catholic Memes with SpongeBob themes. All right, everybody, I'm excited about this, and I was gonna save the bio for beforehand, but I said, I'm going to read this while I'm actually talking to him because a lot of times I'll do the after the interview's over, I'll hop on by myself and say this is who I'm going to talk to. But I'm really proud to be saying this, and I want his face right there. I want to be able to see it. So, all right, Peter Michael Burke, Jr. Jr. Is a simple, working, blue-collared traditional Catholic, father and husband. He graduated from Franciscan University of Steubenville in communication arts, TV, radio. By the way, how'd you like it there? Just real quick. I mean, I'm not even knowing the bio, but I want to know how did you like it? Do you think it was a good program?
Yeah, I'll tell you, people have a lot of mixed reviews of Franciscan University, especially nowadays, but they have a very high quality television and radio studio. They produce several shows there that are actually put out on EWTN, Eternal Word Television, all that stuff. So very high quality equipment they have there. Many high profile people are there to give advice. Very smart staff, intelligent people who know the game, and they prepare you well. And people will get the jobs they want to in a lot of the different media organizations run by the church and different dioceses and things like that. So great program they have over there for sure.
Excellent. He's been active in the online Catholic world for a long time, becoming acquainted with and building a modest network of well-known Catholic personalities, most notably His Eminence Cardinal Burke, who himself, and this blew my mind. I've seen a picture though, so I knew this. Okay, who himself is aware of LCS's existence as a Catholic organization and has blessed the flag and seal of the majority of its staff. Peter is the current president of the League of Christ Sovereign. On a minor note, he also happens to be, and I'm glad he included this minor note, in fact, both of them, but the first one specifically, he is the creator and admin of the moderately popular, and he's a modest guy, listen to this, moderately popular Catholic meme page, SpongeBob Memes with Catholic themes on Facebook. Yeah, and he's one of the former co-hosts of Men with Chess podcast. Dude, I am so happy you included in that list. And that's a good list to have, dude. That's good. You've got a good bio here. But that one, SpongeBob Memes with Catholic themes on Facebook, I don't know how I didn't put the two and two together, because I've been friends with you for a while, and I've liked that page. And when I saw that, I was like, what? Is he kidding?
So, my serenity is my credentials, you see. No, but, I made that page on such a whim. And the reason you probably didn't know it was me is because my wife had actually encouraged me to remain more anonymous with it, just due to the fact that there have been times where my memes have attracted some, critical attention from leftist pages. And these people, they're rabid, they're hateful, and often very, very evil towards people of faith. They'll try and dox you. They'll find your information out. So I guess it's not difficult to find out that I'm the one who runs that page, that it is my original creation. But I tried to keep a relatively low profile when I used that. But I did reveal myself once or twice just to see if any of my friends would be like, "Oh, that was you."
Well, we know now. So half the battle is given right here, man. We just gave it to the leftists. So now they're like, dude,
I really am not that afraid of it. I've been online long enough to know how the game goes. Obviously, it's a lot worse now with cancel culture and all this crazy rabbit stuff. But honestly, I just don't see how many of these people can hurt me. And I mean, I guess that might be me challenging them. Please don't hurt me. But really not bothered by it, because you have to use social media to the ends of God when you can. And I have promoted the League of Christ Sovereign online, my meme page, and myself, and other work that I've tried to do over the years. And it all comes with the risk of attracting the attention of people who are followers of Satan, followers of the devil, followers of evil, or whatever they like to call themselves. So it can be a danger, but I believe, at least I hope so, that Christ will always protect me when he sees fit, unless it is part of his holy will to knock me down a couple notches. I always await the day, but hopefully Christ keeps me safe. And
Yeah.
yeah, I trust God to make sure that things don't go too haywire.
Yeah, and that's all you can do at this point, right? I mean, it really is. I mean, people can go. I've had individuals share stuff about me. They'll have pictures of me, and it's funny. I've had people that are like, "Look at this guy. This guy's he's a bigot. He hates people of other races," and they literally are using the picture of me with my half Korean wife, and on one side, and on the other side is this. She's a leader of the kind of like a black caucus in the Republican Party, and so we're we're all just chilling together. The ethnic
They
minority
forgot
chair.
picture, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They
they're like,
forgot to play.
yeah. Where are the blonde haired, blue eyed Nordic chicks with my arms around them? Like, what's going on? Like, how did I find myself in this jam? And so, but I don't want to spend forever on the meme thing. But I'm actually I'm delighted that it came up because I wanted to ask you a couple things. Number
Sure.
one, uh, with the Catholic meme stuff, right? Because I've made some memes too. I've made some memes too. Um, have you made memes, right? Or what are some of your favorite? Or have you made memes that were picked up by a lot of other people, stuff like that? And to follow that up, of course, with kind of an idea for what you think. What do you believe is the role of memes in general, right? Especially in a world like our own, especially insofar as Catholics are concerned. And I ask this because I'm reading right now Defense of the Faith, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Catholic Controversy, St. Francis de Sales, Defense of the Faith. And in the
Okay.
beginning of that, he's talking about the question being, what do you do if you're preaching the gospel in a world where everyone is slamming the door in your face and they're not listening to your sermons anymore? And he
Mhm.
used as many things at his disposal as humanly possible, even putting stuff under doors, right, to try to get this message out. And I thought, would he do memes? Like if it was everything at their
No.
disposal. And so I'm interested. Original content, role of memes in Catholic action.
Well, I'll tell you, some of the memes have been shared pretty far and wide, and it always would surprise me. I think there's a bishop on Facebook, I think is Bishop Umbers, I believe his name is, and he's known as the meme bishop on Facebook. He shares memes, which is kind of uncharacteristic of a Prince of the Faith or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I know he has shared my content and a lot of other larger pages, such as the more generic Catholic memes page on Facebook and other places. They've been seen by a lot of different people, and I guess one of my favorites is the one where it shows SpongeBob being beaten up by Bubble Bass on multiple different frames, and each frame is representing the church being beaten up by different secular and religious institutions throughout history, like Revolutionary France, Catholic Church, punching on it, still alive. And
Yeah.
that one got shared. It's probably the most popular one on the page. And it is very surprising on the effect because, sort of overnight, I realized that these funny jokes I was making were being viewed by thousands upon thousands of people. And
Yeah.
that was pretty jarring for me at first because I never experienced that type of exposure for anything that I ever said or did before. But as far as the role of memes is concerned, I do think memes, I don't view them as necessary, but I do think that they can be a valuable tool. However, I have spoken with people, and some people can say that maybe when you meme Catholicism, when you meme certain topics within the faith, which are meant to be held in reverence and meant to be respected, I do think there is a line that you shouldn't cross in regards to what you joke about. I actually have removed memes from my page before that I felt like maybe have crossed the line. So certain things regarding the crucifixion, I don't necessarily post things regarding the crucifixion or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the sadness of Our Lady, the Passion and things of that nature. When things get really at the heart of Christ's suffering, I don't tend to make fun of those types of things. But
Yeah.
maybe things regarding the saints or I try and keep things jovial, but memes can have a very powerful effect, I think, and it can even be cringe to say that, oh, because memes used to be something totally different.
You don't play with ones that are um, touching on matters that are of very serious import, right? So the
Yeah.
crucifixion, the sorrow of Our Lady, things like that. To me, that's up there with like saying Christ is among us and it's an Among Us guy on a cross or something. You know what I mean? Or like the ones that secular people would do that would say things like screw off Jesus and it's them doing something naughty and Jesus is kind of peeking in the window. Like it's about his omnipresence and he's there and they're sinning and they're making light of the fact that he's aware of their sinning. And to me, I felt that that was inappropriate. Even the way, and I know this is, some people may be like, really, you're going to go there? Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. My son Ambrose is a huge fan. He was, and I've enjoyed some of the stories and everything. But there was a part in there because I guess the guy that writes it, if I remember correctly, the guy who writes it is a Catholic, but he has something on there about kind of grandma, how grandma's gone, and yet grandma kind of sees him, and he jokes about, well, does she see me in the bathroom, and other things, and it kind of smacked of the humor of the screw off Jesus memes, right? I'm saying screw people if they get mad that I say that. You'd be happy I'm not saying the word they use. But I felt that that was, on the one hand, yes, it does make, it does bring into the social imaginary of a child the idea that saints and people in heaven, and especially the Lord, he's completely aware of what we're doing and thinking at all times. But that making it a joke the way he did was actually counterproductive. I don't see how a kid would walk away without chuckling at the idea and almost laughing it off that the saints are aware of things. And so I said, I don't know if I jive with that. So I appreciate you bringing that up, but I want to ask too, while you've been doing that, because you kind of paused that, haven't you? The SpongeBob memes.
Well, I would say my uploading schedule has been very spaced out. There have been even months where I haven't uploaded anything, but luckily I have a very creative set of fans on the page, and I have a few particular individuals who are always able to give me fresh content when they feel the desire to send me something, and I always tend to share things of that nature. But I do have loads and loads of SpongeBob frames that I have saved up that I said I'll get to it eventually. I'll figure out something funny that I could throw in there. But yeah, I sometimes feel as though my creativity with the page has kind of burned itself out. There was a time where I would upload every day. When I first started, I actually uploaded thrice a day, and it can get really difficult to think of, what do I talk about now? And especially when you're trying to regulate yourself to make sure you're not making something distasteful, something overly offensive. I mean, some people are even of the opinion that Catholic memes in general are objectively offensive because you're satirizing the faith at all. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that in and of itself. Right. I just think when you're navigating these tools that we have to evangelize online, you do have to be aware of what you're saying, but you don't necessarily have to follow rules of people who may not fully understand how meme culture works. Sometimes there has to be some element of satire in order to actually hook people in, and for it to have some sort of maybe a level of irony here, a level of irony there. And, this gets into conversations that can just be way over the heads of a lot of people who don't even understand these types of things at all. But
right.
Yeah, I would say that I don't do it as much as I often used to do, but I still love the page. I don't expect to walk away from it anytime soon. And, maybe my upload schedule will continue on further down the road. We'll see how big it gets.
I think there's like a life cycle to some of this. Take for example Susan from Parish Council. Susan from Parish Council was pretty hilarious, and I started to wonder. I'm like, is this person? Because I didn't know the person behind the scene. Susan is a caricature of something that I am very opposed to. Right, like that the individual. I've met them. I know them. They are obnoxious, right? And they're real. Like that's what made it actually so funny. But I started to think like it wasn't just the extremes. Sometimes it became really clear that we're talking about a certain brand of maybe traditionalist, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I guess there's been interviews that were done with this individual. I have not heard them. But I guess it's a man, which is unsurprising. I mean, it's almost like you can just basically guess, like Tatiana McGrath or whatever, on Twitter, totally a dude. You could tell, and it's like, yeah, it's a guy. But I understand what you're saying about that. But did you ever meet any people like that, like other content creators? And that's the last thing I'll say before moving on, because we got other things to talk to. But I don't get to talk to meme people, meme magicians very often. So this is important for me, man.
In real life, no, but you do tend to get into the DMs of a lot of different creators, especially in the Catholic meme scene. I am I am good friends with the person who runs it's not exactly a Catholic page, although it has the aesthetic of that in certain posts. Pains of Hell Wellness Clinic is one of my favorite pages on Facebook. And the admin there, I consider myself a friend of his, and other friends, like I believe it's Apostolic Memes for like liberty-minded teens, something like that. And a few other pages out there. I'm good friends with all these people. But in real life, no, I haven't met any of these people. I have met fans in real life who've, like my page and all these other pages. But yeah, it's not like I've been to like a coffee shop and all the meme creators just kind of descend upon it and we all just start giving each other carbon copies. Hey, look at this one. Look at this one. Hey, can you sign my meme, please, sir? Yeah, nothing like that. But there is a slight camaraderie of some of the bigger meme pages. But I would say there's a difference between some of the pages run by a lot of traditionally minded Catholics and then the more generic Catholic meme pages who tend to be way more popular than we are. They got like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of likes. They're kind of in a category all of their own, and they tend to be more the normie strain of Catholic, which, I don't necessarily have a problem with, Catholics who are of the normal strain. Obviously, that's the normal Catholic, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But I would say that there's something that does bring us all together. And yes, it's the church. Yes, it's the memes. But there's just something more, I guess, when you're a person who actually runs the thing and makes the content yourself.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you've indulged me with this, because as I said, like I've loved memes. I had my own little Anon troll account, Thoda Popinski, the crisp with a lisp. It was the Russian boxer guy from Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and it said good with kids and stuff like that. It's hilarious. He's drunk and everything. And so I did a lot of that for a long time, and I always enjoyed tricking people where you'd get like the real fanatical left-winger crowd, and you'd play into it and say, like, when the lockdowns were happening, talking about people who dared to go out and protest, and they'd be mad at the conservative-y types who would protest. And I'd say, yes, they're super spreaders, especially amongst the marginalized communities like, black folks or LGBTQ and all this. And I'd say people who do that, they need to be punished. And I'd have pictures of our governess, right, out there like a Black Lives Matter rally without a mask, and the person, or she has a mask, but the people around her don't have a mask. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, and they'd share it. But then people would catch it and be like, wait a second, whoa, what is this person doing? And then they'd realize that the light bulb pops on, and they're like, dude, I just got owned. My hypocrisy is showing now.
Is less. Yeah, I was just about to say the hypocrisy is a feature of their ideology, not necessarily just some serendipitous thing that they tend to realize. They oftentimes probably encounter this all the time, navigating through their political possession, essentially, but they just kind of just glaze over it because, of course, they're on the moral high horse. They're the one up in the ivory tower, lording over us terrible, evil Catholics and Christians and conservatives and things of that nature. They don't really care whether or not they're not being true to their own principles. As long as they're giving us a hard time, they're happy at the end of the day, unfortunately.
It's totally true. It is totally true. And I hope you enjoyed part 1, because now we are now approaching part 2. And it's going to be dope. I wish you could hear this echo, man. I need to get an effect because it sounds so awesome. I'm like, it's gonna be dope, and it's like dope. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, when the music's playing, when it's bumping, and you gotta be pumped up. Speaking of pumped up, I gotta pour more coffee. And I've heard, by the way, the cry. I've heard the howl from the pack that they want some merch. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna get a merch store. We have to get a merch store with mugs, but I need big ones. Big, huge, honking mugs. That way, and straws. We need PaleocratDiaries straws. We need Wolfpack straws. We need to have different images that we can put on these mugs. We had some before. The Team Tiny Dancer crew made some. It was awesome. We got to do it. Because that way you can drink it straight to the dome. Passing that blood-brain barrier. Passing the blood-brain barrier. That's scientific, remember? We proved it. And rocket fuel, solid-state rocket fuel. I'm sucking it down through a straw. That's really straight to the dome. Yeah, straight to the dome. Right? All the flat Earth folks, they're like, I heard you. I understand. I got the message. Right? It's come through, the signals. I've seen the videos, by the way. Seen the videos of the rockets going up and hitting something. I don't know what that is. Oh, man. People are going to be speculating now. They're going to be like, what's going on with this guy? All right. Now, we are going on to the second part. And I want to apologize to some of the people who are in here for the first time. Because, I put on there, in the titles and stuff, I put the main theme of everything. But if people aren't familiar with the show, they're going to tune in and be like, when is he going to talk about the Catholic memes? When's he going to do that? The SpongeBob memes with Catholic themes? Or when is he going to talk about League of Christ Sovereign? And it's important because it's coming up, ain't it? Ain't it? Feast of Christ the King. In fact, this evening, I procrastinated a little bit, but I've got it. It's covered. It might be 3 a.m, but it's covered. I got an article coming out for 1 Peter 5 about Christ the King and Catholic social teaching. We've talked about that a lot here. That's the whole idea of taking a knee for Jesus Christ, right? That's the whole idea behind not being able and desirous, in fact, to smile through the storm, right? To laugh with the lightning. To dance around in the rain, that kind of a thing, and to realize that God is good, and that each and every day we've got, it's another opportunity for us to do our very best with every thought, every word, every action that we make throughout our lives. It's another opportunity for us to do those things in the advancement of the kingdom, and not just the advancement of the kingdom to save souls, but to restore all things in Christ Jesus, everything. Okay, so I have a very optimistic outlook. And in fact, I'll tell you a story. There was a lady, before we go to this, because this is part of this. I believe that groups like this, and maybe this group in particular for me, right, that this group is about that mandate. It is about that mandate and saying, yes, it is a big vision. That's true. Christ the King, I mean, you're saying he's king of the universe. He's king of all things right now. And that everything is subject to him, but we're placing it in subjection to him, and that the rebels take over, and that there is a war at stake, and that gives us a mandate, in fact, for a kind of social crusade, one of Catholic action. And I talked to a lady recently, a nice lady, and she asked me, do I believe that there's hope, right, for America? Do I believe there's hope? It's because it's gone real bad. And you could see it in her eyes that she was hoping that I would see it. She trusts the things that I say. She knows that I talk a lot about these topics, that I study them. And I just very casually, in fact, I didn't hesitate. I said no. And part of me wishes that I'd maybe have at least paused to make it sound not so certain. But I am quite convinced, in fact, that given my model that I use for how culture becomes civilization, civilization becomes economic man becomes ultimately imperial, and you have the Caesars, right? And that when the Caesars come around, and we've already seen this. In fact, people can say, well, it began with Barack Obama. A lot of people like to go back to that. I would say it goes back even further. So we're actually into this phase of the lifespan of civilizations. We're into this quite a ways. And we're seeing for how long rival schools, hot flashes in time, right? Hot flashes in time and space. And you've seen the rise of the expanding of the Overton window. right? You've seen the expanding of the Overton window, where now groups that were formerly outside of that Overton window are now inside of it. One of them for the advancement, what they call the advancement or progress or change, and another one that is trying to preserve what's there, trying to return to get back to that. When those two groups arise, that's kind of like when the gender bending arises. Camille Paglia is right about that. She's wrong on a lot of things. She's not a very devout person. We can put it that way, right? And that's being kind. But she's right in her analysis of history that when you see these things arise, you know trouble is already here. It's not on the horizon. And some people, they kind of believe that. They believe that everything's good. We have Hulkamania, so what's the problem with the gender bending going on? We got America. And they don't understand that for that to arise and not to get shut down, but to permeate, that in fact is because it's already been percolating for a while. It's already found its way into various institutions. And over time, it becomes these major wars. People start complaining about how partisan everything is. And not just partisan, but how it's almost as if there's just simply no way to communicate with people. It's like two towers and you don't have any shared language. There's no shared lexicon anymore. We don't have a much of a social lexicon that is able to provide a kind of a cementing dynamic to our society. It's gone. It's toast. And so when that's gone, you now just have full-blown tribalism. You have full-blown balkanization. And in that world where you have balkanization, you have rampant destruction, creative destruction, right? One group over here, another group over here. This group doesn't like that group. They go over there. And it turns into this wild array of groups. And there are some who have the philosophy, like the technocrats, that's actually good, that's a sure recipe for advancement, is creative destruction. But they're not reading their history books. They're not reading their history books because unless of course, they want to see this kind of thing happen and just destroy it, which I kind of believe that's what they want. So it makes sense. I mean, it's good for them, right? It's good for them, but it's not good for society. It's not good for civilization. It's been terrible for religion. And we've watched. And so you're going to see rival schools. And you can say this, it doesn't take a prophet. It takes a book. It takes being able to go into a library and read some books about the past and the great people and civilizations of the past and see the common similar timelines. How did they begin? What were they like? How did they progress through time? Okay. Once they reached a certain point of prosperity, what did they start? Did it change the way they thought? Did they move beyond their boundaries? Did they start to see themselves hemispherically? Did they start to see themselves globally? Their ideas and values, that they're no longer a city on a hill for people to aspire to, but they might be a city on a hill, but they're also sending their planes over. And they're planting their folks down there, doing even economic hitman junk. Because that's what happens every time. You know, the degradation of language, the idea that, a national language is a bad thing. That would only make sense in the world of economic man, not in the internalized culture man, the one that thinks of salvation, that thinks of his group, that thinks of the superstructure that he's part of. That's maybe in its early youth, where beauty, and you can see it even in architecture, things like that. But when we reach this place in time, where we are now, where balkanization is just let loose. It's like Pandora's box has been opened. There's no putting it back. There's no let's go back to the founding fathers. We can't even salvage their statues. Hardly at all. Now, in fairness, I know some folks who did. And those were Catholic folks. And they weren't founders, they were saints. Like the one in St. Louis. They were the ones on their knees in prayer. So you look and you say, over and over and over, you're seeing even the icons, right? Even the symbols, the societal iconography getting destroyed. Names from buildings, paintings from the walls, statues of individuals, all of those things, which are valuable at least to the society, are falling apart. But I think this is symbolic for us because the one that's remaining, the ones that remain are the ones where men and women of tradition and action not only stand up, but get on their knees to pray and begin to bind together in fraternity with each other, that they form groups, and that these groups work together. And so it's in that spirit, in fact, that I was excited to connect with an old friend. And the end of this segment is something that it was really moving to me personally. And I kept it. Part of me almost wanted to take it out, but he addressed it to you. And so I said, I can't take it out. I gotta leave it. But he's an important guy to my heart. He's one of those all-weather friends, right? I liked in the comments that somebody said, you can't, it's good that you're loving on other people, but you can't, Jeremiah, you can't, you need to preserve yourself from the feeling that you need to have that reciprocated back to you. I've been in this game a long time, and I've learned sometimes through the school of hard knocks that is an unreasonable and, in fact, just a dangerous expectation. And it can lead to all sorts of scruples. It can lead even to selling out, right? So it can lead to you sacrificing your values. It can lead to you, a kind of paralyzing perfectionism even. I did a podcast about that. And so, but sometimes it's really great. In fact, it is great to have all-weather friends. People who see you through thick and thin. They may be sad about where you've gone, sad about what you've said and what you've done, but they're there for you, and they pray for you when you're away. And Peter Michael Burke Jr. is one of those people to me. And so I'm very, very, very grateful. Let me pop this up here. I'm going to take this out, remove that one. I have to do the same thing I did last time. I have to do the same thing. I apologize. Downloads. Whoop. Sorry about that. Yeah, I downloaded the video, but then I forgot to dump it in here. So it might end up being loud for 1 second. All right, everybody. I'm okay. So here we go. This is part 2. Let's see. Let's back it up. I ended up at, sorry about that. I ended up, by the way, let's see, introducing him again. So there may be people, so if you've already heard the introduction, it's okay. It's not too long, but it's an introduction just saying who he is, because there may have been people that just tuned in just now. Okay, so when I share these videos, they'll be separate. I'll share them separately, maybe even on my own YouTube channel, as well as at PaleocratDiaries.com. And when I do that, that way if people only watch one or the other, that they're able to hear the introduction. So bear with me, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. It's awesome. And if this is something, I'll go ahead right now, as soon as I'm done talking, I'm going to go right now, put it in the comments, right? The link to, it's just League of Christ. Okay? It's League of Christ. Let's see. Oh, no. Why is it doing that? Give me a second. Because I want to put it in there right now. That way, yep, leagueofchrist.org. It's that simple, leagueofchrist.org. I should have put it at the bottom of the screen on the video, but I did not. So I sincerely apologize. But with no further ado, here we go. We've got ourselves my interview about League of Christ Sovereign and all the amazing things that they're doing in an effort to not only live a traditional Catholic life in a world that's gone mad, but to consistently and confidently march forward in the power of God for the full restoration of all things in Christ the King. All right, everybody, I'm excited about this, and I was gonna save the bio for beforehand, but I said, I'm gonna read this while I'm actually talking to him, because a lot of times I'll do the after the interview's over, I'll hop on by myself and say this is who I'm going to talk to, but I'm really proud to be saying this, and I want his face right there. I want to be able to see it. So all right, Peter Michael Burke Jr. Is a simple, working, blue-collared traditional Catholic, father and husband. He graduated from Franciscan University of Steubenville in communication arts, TV, radio. And by the way, how'd you like it there? Just real quick. I mean, I'm not even knowing the bio, but I want to know, how did you like it? Do you think it was a good program?
Yeah, I'll tell you, people have a lot of mixed reviews of Franciscan University, especially nowadays, but they have a very high quality television and radio studio. They produce several shows there that are BTN, Eternal, Word Television, all that stuff. So very high quality equipment they have there. Many high profile people are there to give advice. very smart staff, intelligent people who know the game, and they prepare you well. And people will get the jobs they want to in a lot of the different media organizations run by the church and different dioceses and things like that. So great program they have over there for sure.
Excellent. He's been active in the online Catholic world for a long time, becoming acquainted with and building a modest network of well-known Catholic personalities, most notably His Eminence Cardinal Burke, who himself, and this blew my mind. I've seen a picture though, so I knew this. Okay, who himself is aware of LCS's existence as a Catholic organization and has blessed the flag and seal of the majority of its staff. Peter is the current president of the League of Christ Sovereign. On a minor note, he also happens to be, and I'm glad he included this minor note, in fact, both of them, but the first one specifically, he is the creator and admin of the moderately popular, and he's a modest guy, listen to this, moderately popular Catholic meme page, SpongeBob Memes with Catholic themes on Facebook. Yeah, and he's one of the former co-hosts of Men with Chess podcast. So, all right, it's going to be real simple, man. I don't want it to feel like commercial-esque. You know what I mean? Like I'm here to talk to you, and I want you to talk to me, right? And this sells itself. I mean, give me a break. I went through, I'm looking at it. I was bummed, I'm going to say. I'm not going to lie. I was bummed
sorry.
because I'd mentioned the group before on the show, right? After we had talked and I said, look, I've got a guy that I'm bringing on, a friend of mine. He's got this group. They've started expanding on chapters, and I was interested, and I am right now. I'm interested in the formation of a group, right? Like the Paleocrat Society used to be way back in the day. You'd get together, go and we did murder mystery things, you know. We did at houses. We had feasts and everything. We'd get together. We'd go and we'd smoke cigars at cigar shops, or we'd drink coffee or whatever. So we had all sorts of events that we did, but I have a lot of the ladies that tune into the show.
It does say men's. It does say men's group.
Yeah.
However, in recent weeks, a few of we brought up the topic of female auxiliary chapters, or whether or not male and female chapters can intermix, or that there can be a single chapter with both men and women involved. And the opinion of the board is that we are absolutely open to women being a part of the League of Christ Sovereign. In fact, we already do have women involved in the League of Christ Sovereign who are not at the moment attached to any chapters, but wish to start their own. So that is one aspect of the website that does need to get edited. We are open totally for women to join. They can join as associate members currently. And as far as chapters go, we've already had a couple women approach us for the formation of chapters. I've approved them as long as they can seek out the members who can be a part of it. At the moment, I've interviewed about 6 different people attempting to start League of Christ Sovereign chapters. The only thing they need to do in order to establish one is they have to bring 2 other people apart from themselves to start a chapter. It's minimum of 3 members. One of them has to be the leader, the chapter leader, and then you're done. You set up your agenda, you create, whatever you guys want to do, either weekly or monthly or even daily, however you want to do it. And we just encourage people to attend the major league events if they can, if they're on the east side, or if they're even a part of any other closer chapters or just associate members. If they have things going on, go on pilgrimage, go to prayer events, just go to mass together, hang out with each other, become friends, create that bond, that fraternity, that friendship. That's essentially what it's all about. And it's no longer just restricted to men, because we realize that women want to get involved in these types of things, and we're more than open to that.
I'm so happy to hear that, man, because, and I'm dead serious, because if for no other reason, then League of Christ Sovereign is mega dope, dude. I mean, you go through, we're going to encourage everybody. We're going to,
club. Yeah.
Yes, it's not. And that's actually an important thing.
Because we have a history. LCS didn't start on its own as LCS. We were a group known as the Counter Revolution. That's what we started out as. I don't know if you ever heard of that group. It started around, I think, 2016, 2017 or so. And it got very popular. We had 1,000 members, mostly in the United States, mostly on the eastern half of the United States. We had a very well-spoken, intelligent, magnanimous leader named Marshall Braden Nicholas Plyler. He started it with his small group of friends. They discovered traditional Catholicism, and they had major strides, and they attracted so many different people. But even with the church sort of guiding our principles, we were sort of a socio-political movement with Catholicism thrown in, attempting to kind of be a major Catholic voice in the larger public scene of politics and social policy and things like that. But even then, things just didn't work out. People had a lot of personality disputes with the leader and with other staff members. We attracted some very unsavory characters who, supported things like, strange ideas that affect Christian nationalism. Now, I don't necessarily think that is in and of itself is a bad thing to have Christianity involved, in politics or anything like that. But we also had outright fascists and people who were Nazis, and it's not. And I don't throw those terms around lightly.
Right.
The left does. I legitimately say these things. A lot of these people had ideas that were very contrary to the Catholic faith. And so even when the church is involved, it can be extremely difficult to have things directed in a very healthy and clean way. And that's one of the things that we in the league are very much attempting to do. We want things to be very wholesome, very healthy. We kind of left politics on the wayside, although not totally abandon it. We still do public displays of, prayer in front of like abortion clinics at the March for Life, or prayer rosaries. We even had plans before COVID hit to go in front of strip clubs and porn shops to pray the rosary silently for these establishments to shut down.
It's unfortunate. Well, Peter, here's something that's not unfortunate, man, is League of Christ Sovereign. I went to the website, and I encourage everybody to go, leagueofchrist.org. You can find right there a Brotherhood of Catholic Men. Also, there's some new developments that are taking place, some ladies and stuff that are getting involved. I'm really glad to hear about this. But break this down for us. I mean, even just going through the about page, who are we? Personal transformation. Like, what are some of the key concepts of this? For like, why create this? What is the aim, and what are the means that you're putting into place as a group, as an organization, to accomplish these?